Hi.
Hi.
We got there in the end.
We have.
How are you? Hi, welcome to the Uncut.
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. I was just going through your music.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Faye kind of told me a little bit about you, and I've kind of went through your social medias. For everybody who's listening today and watching, Paddy, tell us a little bit about you.
Basically, I'm an independent artist. My journey's a bit of a mad one. I started off breakdancing. I used to breakdance when I was a kid, and I was into all kinds of things, hip hop and stuff. I was doing
What sort of age did you start breakdancing, Paddy?
I started breakdancing from, I'd say, back end of primary school, I'd say. So about 6, 7.
Wow. Were you with a crew or was it just you on your own?
Well, it was funny because basically in the area where we was, in Woodhouse in Leeds, and basically there wasn't much opportunity. So when I being Leeds, like there was nowhere to go. So there was in the community centre there was a guy called Shane Fenton, and I don't know if you guys have heard of Pat Regan. She did like the Mothers Against Violence campaign.
Right.
God bless, he's passed now. So this was her son. So basically to help spread the message, he did it through breakdancing. So did classes in the community centre. And a lot of the kids that was going to the community centre was in my primary school, so they took the concept of what was going on in the community centre and the breakdancing classes to bringing people together. They started bringing it into the school.
Lovely.
Obviously, it was only at the back end of the school where they started doing it, and then I kind of went from not doing it in the school to the community centre. So I'm meeting people and getting to know what the vibe was and the area as well, because I was new to Leeds, so I didn't really know who was who or what was what. I was kind of getting a feel for the place, and then I feel like because the energy was in breakdancing, everyone kind of came together. Because a lot of people was a bit standoffish, no one, because it brought areas together. Because not everybody in the school where they came to, there was kids from out of the area that was coming to that school, and they always did. They all didn't see eye to eye, but I think with the breakdancing thing, everyone came together, sort of thing. Everyone had something to like. They had
to
something
connect with.
Yeah. So from doing that in the community centre, obviously everyone then had finished school and then gone on to high school in different high schools, but it kind of continued in the community centre, and then we ended up joining a crew called Shaolin Shadows, which I think we were just kids that were so energetic and gassed up to just go to. Sometimes we'd go to Newcastle, Cambridge, and we just battle other crews, Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? It was just a fun thing to do at the time because, like I say, there wasn't any opportunities to do anything. Do you know what I'm saying? So from there, I think I got a bit too old to do breakdancing. I kind of grew out of it. I started writing and started doing poetry in a place called Chapeltown in Leeds with a woman called Khadija Ibrahim and Paulette Morris. They did like a poetry group called Leeds Young Authors. And the same again, it was a different area to what I knew. I'd gone into Chapeltown and I'd heard stories about the area and not being able to go in there and all this stuff. But I went against the grain because I'm a big believer is if you don't go and find out for yourself, you'll never know. So
And did you have a lot of black friends, Paddy?
Yeah, I don't have many white friends, but yeah, no, I don't. No, genuinely, all jokes aside, like I do have, being white, it did, there wasn't many white people in the group, so to speak. So me going there was kind of, but I feel like that's with my heritage anyway. Like being Irish, like we mix and blend, like everyone's one. Do you get what I mean? It doesn't matter where you're from, any walk of life. Do you get what I'm saying? So I was my dad, God bless him, he's not here anymore, but he always told me, like, never fear anyone in this life. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's meant to be is meant to be, and what happens in life happens in life. So I guess, like, that stayed with me as well growing up. He always told us to be proud of where we was from and never be ashamed. And you know, respect costs nothing, but it goes a long way. So I'd go into these areas knowing that, all right, they might have been a bit hostile or there might have been madness going on in the area, but if I go in there with a clean heart and I've got respect and manners and I know how to carry myself, I should be all right, because as long as I've got that in me and I've got that respect, don't get me wrong, I know it goes both ways. Do you know what I'm saying? If someone's disrespectful, I'm not an idiot. Like, I'm not gonna just, do you know what I'm saying? But I think if you go somewhere and you show that level of respect, and because I wasn't going into these areas thinking, oh yeah, do you know who I am? I was still young and I was exploring what was going on and who was who. Do you get me? So I guess that was part of what was going on. So to step into this group doing poetry, I met a new group of people. But then as I was getting older, I didn't realize, like, there was people, when I was going to this poetry group in Chapeltown, I was going back to the area where I lived, and there was people in the area where I lived that never really gone to that area. So they was questioning me, like, what's it like over that side? Are they all right? And I'm kind of saying to them, like, I don't know what you've been told or the stigma that's been painted, but it's not as bad as people. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to check the people and know what they're about rather than judging them and just thinking. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to feed into the narrative, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Like, when you hear about certain places, when there's a wide community of black people there, the stigma is always painted a certain way, and we can sit here and act like it's not, and try and play the fools and act like it's not what it is. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes you hear it, and it's sad, to be fair, because with that stigma comes with opportunities not being given, because people turned a blind eye to the area because of the stigma that's been painted. So I feel like for me it was a big thing. So obviously doing the poetry thing, it was a blessing, really. So the year I joined the poetry group, they obviously Leeds Young Authors, the poetry scene now in the UK is widespread. So you've got London, Birmingham, and other cities now that are connected to the spoken word scene, so to speak. But at the time, Leeds Young Authors was the only really group in the UK that was competing in the States. So there was a place called, there was a competition called Brave New Voices in America, which would, I'm guessing every year would be in a different city in America. It just so happened when I joined that they was going to LA that year, but obviously they did a bout in Chapeltown for people to win the place to get the group to the six to go to the States. Yeah. But I joined too late to get that opportunity to go. But it was amazing, and I got it, and I kind of I took to it a lot more than I thought. Like, I'm not gonna lie, and maybe it was my ignorance because I was young as well. So when I thought poetry, I always thought Romeo and Juliet, and like I say, it's the same in it. We all can make judgment, but I feel like for me, I genuinely thought poetry, nah, that's not me. And I kind of, you think you're too cool, I think, so to speak, because like I say, you think it's Romeo and Juliet and all that. So I tried to fight, like I didn't want to get involved, but I feel like the more I tried to fight, not wanting to be a part of, made me part of even more so, because I wanted to understand it a bit more, and I feel like it helped me with my writing and how I spoke in certain situations, and I feel like your dialect as well, and being able to communicate with people. I think.
Can I tell you something, Paddy? Poetry. I come and I'm born in Germany, and I came from Germany to the UK when I was like 90 years old. I didn't speak a word of English. I was put from my teachers. They made me read poetry. I had zero interest because I, first of all, didn't even know the language. So I started with baby books, which was really crazy for somebody who's 9 years old. But if you don't know the language, then that's what you got to do, right? You're doing what you're told to do. And they put poetry in front of me, and I swear to God, had it not been for me falling in love with poetry then, and learning that, like, it helped me learn the English language. And then from that, I fell in love with Tupac and all the music that came with it, and the poetry that people were writing within the rap lyrics. And believe it or not, I used to street dance, and I was one of them type of people who was this Indian girl who is surrounded with black people, and that was my my childhood. And man, I know how to do my thing. And this kind of, helped me become confident. I knew the language. I could rap and sing every song. And this made me who the confidence that built at that time in my childhood till I'm 15, 16, made me so confident in business today. And obviously all the acting classes I started doing, it just all in all helped with each other. And so I can completely understand when you say you didn't want the poetry, but then you realize the poetry helped you with writing your lyrics, and the lyrics were more meaningful and more in depth. So people were listening more, and then it kind of connects. And believe it or not, I love breakdancing. I know some of the moves where, you know, you put your hand here, you lift yourself. I can do that one.
Oh, yeah, come on.
But anyway, back to you. Just you want me to be on camera? Are you crazy? I'm wearing a suit.
You're saying with the Tupac thing, so this is what I'm saying. So with the whole thing of trying to fight against it, and then obviously because I was still part of the group, they'd come back from LA, and I was close with a girl who done a pirate radio station in Chapeltown at the time, People's FM, and we were quite close. And she was a rapper also, so it was kind of, we was rap poets, we used to say, like, so it's spoken word, but we were still into rapping and stuff. But obviously I wasn't really, as much as I was into the breakdancing and hip hop elements of graffiti and beatboxing and stuff, I wasn't really into rapping, so to speak, because at that time, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a bit cheesy in the UK. And I don't mean this in a bad-minded way, but when I was coming up as a kid, like, a lot of English artists would rap with an American accent, and that for me, I couldn't, it was a bit cringy. Do you get that? But at the time for me, I was listening to grime and UK garage.
Yeah.
And jungle, because I was into jungle and grime and garage and the UK thing. So when she's come back from LA and she's like, oh my God, I met Tupac's mentor, and I was like, what? She was like, yeah, Tupac did poetry, and I think that kind of schooled me also, because obviously I listened to Tupac. Everybody does, like, everyone's heard of him. Even if you didn't listen to him, everyone's heard of him. And I feel like for me, I was like, wow, like, he did poetry. And like I say, maybe it was my ignorance again. I didn't think to believe that he could do poetry, or whether that was even part and parcel with doing rapping. So she was like, yeah, I met his mentor and it was amazing. I was like, raw, like, you actually met his mentor? So he was a poet? And she was like, yeah, he was into his writing seriously, and that kind of got him into who he was. And I think that kind of changed my narrative on doing poetry. So I stuck at it. In 2005, I went out to San Francisco to compete in the Brave New Voices. That was a blessing. There were 6 of us. Obviously, I had to compete in Chapeltown to win my place to go. This was my 2nd year of being with them, but yeah, blessings. I actually won my place to go, and it was overwhelming as well, because there was a lot of people that wanted the opportunity to go. So I understood how lucky I was to get that place. Also, not that I wasn't knocking what I was capable of, because obviously I believed in my poetry and my written work, but to get that place of one of 6, knowing that there was a lot of people that wanted to go and take that, I appreciated the opportunity to do that.
Can we hear a verse?
A verse?
Oh,
more than a verse.
That got you there.
A verse. Oh, if I can. All right. Let me try and remember it.
Yeah, because that's a long time ago.
This is 2005. Let me try and remember. So, the guns, the tanks, the fire, the noise. Women could go, but they kept the boys. Tanks and planes dropping bombs on towns. Machine guns firing round after round. Their bombs and their bullets are causing a blaze. My God, what's happening? Our country's been plagued. Countrymen torn, homes torn apart. Children left crying in the cold and the dark. Plundered and pillaged, my people were shamed. And for all their torture, the system's to blame. That's all I can kind of remember so far. But yeah, it was a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But obviously that's the heritage, and it's quite relevant now, actually, with what's going on in the world, to be fair.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and that's even mad, because I was 15 then. So obviously for me, like, I kind of, doing the poetry thing helped me to dig deep into writing and being open and expressing and speaking about things you wouldn't normally speak about as well. So like I say, going out to San Francisco, eye-opener, absolutely life-changing experience. I'll never forget it. But it just so happened that, don't get me wrong, there was teams from all over the US. We made the whole competition international. So I clicked with the New York team. Like, I clicked with all of the teams, like Chicago, Illinois, all the teams I clicked with. But New York, for some reason, like, we just clicked from the jump. And I'm still in contact with them now, even to today. I still speak to the members from the New York team and stuff. And it just so happened the next year in 2006, it was being held in New York. I competed again, and but rather than, because they knew that I clicked with the New York team, rather than giving me the place to go as someone to compete, they gave me the opportunity to go as a mentor. So I still was able to go and give someone else an opportunity as well to compete. So that was a mad experience. I got to go to the Apollo Theatre where Jackson 5 had been.
Wow.
It was just, I can't explain it. Like, you had to be there to understand. Like, I can't. There's only so much I can say to explain. Like, you would have to be there to understand. But to go 2 years in a row consistently and be a part of these young authors was it was a really big thing for me. So even though I'm not really into the poetry stuff at the moment, I still believe going through musically, that is because of doing these young authors as well. Do you know what I'm saying? As much as growing up breakdancing and listening to rappers while we were breakdancing and stuff, I never really thought I would be doing music. I just feel like it's a path that I went down, and I'm just embracing every day as it comes. And yeah, so that's how I got into doing music. Basically, it was kind of a mad journey of breakdancing, being a kid. Do you know what I mean? Just something to do, to actually finding something that I really love and enjoy. And now I'm doing something that I really do love, and I do love music.
What did you think when Eminem came on the scene?
Eminem, for me, I just feel like, I think it's a shame when colour is brought into music. So I understand.
I loved Eminem. I did personally.
I just think
one of the most iconic person. I think.
I'm being honest with you, a fight boy rapper, all this, and I just feel like it's easy to play the race card and put someone down, but you know, when you deep it and you push all that aside, lyrically and musically, you can't deny people of the talent. You know,
8
like
Mile,
exactly.
8 Mile. All I can say is 8 Mile.
The film alone, like it's a lot deeper than people think. People just feel like it's a movie and he's rapping, but no, when you deep it was actually, I feel like it was more him kind of telling the story of him being accepted in the scene as being a white rapper. It wasn't just being a good lyricist and being able to battle someone on stage. It was about being accepted in something that he loved, even though he didn't. Maybe others didn't think he was a part of or felt a part of. So I feel like that was quite a sick film, to be honest. Like, But like I say, I wasn't really. It was only further on in my poetry scene and my, later on stages of my music where I kind of tapped into like the American artists and the American scene, because, like I say, for me it was always a bit cheesy with hearing UK artists rap with American accent. It just didn't really, because obviously I was hearing English artists like Dizzy Rascal, Wiley, and we had our own accent, so I just couldn't comprehend people spitting over a hip hop beat with an American accent. But I get it. Like now you've got UK rappers rapping with their own accent and embracing their own. But
what's the new artist? What's his name? CJ. Yeah, and him and Drake, and he's like mixing it up, man.
He's like, like the times have changed. I feel like if the UK embraced themselves more early on, we wouldn't be so far behind. Like, it wouldn't be
more collaborations would have happened. Yeah.
I just feel like everyone was cutting themselves short, not being themselves. And I'm a big believer of being yourself, and just there's no point in trying to be something that you're not. You get me? Like, I'm not being bad-minded when I say that. I just feel like, why can't you be who you are? Like, it's just and I got that from being. I feel like I grew up quite fast. I had like a old head on young shoulders, so to speak. So like I was quite not in an arrogant way. I was quite clued up. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I was ahead of my time. Like, there was a lot of people my age that was on a foolishness and doing madness, and then I wasn't really. I was kind of. I had goals. I had stuff I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right now, where are you now? Are you like full time into your music? Are you trying to find collaborations? Are you trying to go international, or are you focused on the UK market?
It's the same again. Even when I started doing music, I'll be honest with you, like, I was just the same as anyone else doing grime, spitting bars on the back of the bus. That annoying kid running music off a Bluetooth and infrared, running grime instrumentals, being that annoying kid on the back of the bus running the tune. I was that kid. And then I kind of came up listening to like pirate radio stations and Dizzy Rascal, Wiley, just the grime scene in general. Like, that was like, I had a lot, like, that was my era to come up with. So I was spitting because it was normal. It wasn't like as much as I wanted to do it, it felt normal. Like everyone, even if you was the worst spitter in the world, everyone felt like they could spit 2 bars, or everyone had two lyrics to be able to spit. And then I feel like as time went on, I'm not gonna lie, I grew up and I did end up getting into certain madnesses. Do you get what I'm saying? Which I would genuinely easily say I'm ashamed of. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like you forget your way sometimes because of your surroundings and the being a product of your environment, so to speak. It's easy to get caught up in foolishness if you've not got the right mindset. Or I think the blessing for me was having people around me that was. You see, the thing is, when I was young, I thought I knew it all. I've even got a tune called "Knew It All," like, but like, I felt like I was arrogant. I was that unruly kid that felt like I couldn't be told anything. You know what I'm saying? The only people I had respect for was my mum and dad, and that's more time because I thought if I stepped out of line, I would have got licks. And I feel like now that kind of doesn't really resonate anymore because the kids today, there is no, they're unruly, but they're not getting. Like I got licked.
They don't get beats. Beats.
Listen, beats, mate. Like I'm telling you now, like I'm not condoning getting licks. Do you get what I mean? But yo, it never done me any wrong. Do you know? When I look back and I think, wow, like that kept me in check. I knew I couldn't. No, I couldn't. So even now, at my big age, don't get me wrong. I wind my mum up. Do you know what I mean? I always have banter with my mum, and I do wind her up.
How old are you, Paddy?
I'm only 33.
33, so you're Ramona's
I love how
age.
he said I'm only 33.
Ramona's age.
I'm still young, man. I'm still young. I still got fire in my belly, man.
Babies, darling.
Yeah.
No, but obviously, even at my age now, I still, don't get me wrong, like I said, I banter with my mum, and even cursing and that, like, it's a bit weird sometimes. I have the jokes with my mum, but like, I would never, like, having respect for your parents and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's a big thing, like, and I don't feel like that's installed as much as it was back. I feel like my generation was maybe one of the last generations that had manners and respect.
You say that. I say that by my nephew's generation, and he's 40. That's the last generation.
No, don't get me wrong. I do feel like there are people maybe my age that are still a little bit, they've not really got the mindset. But I feel like having respect for your elders and stuff like that, that was installed in me from young. Do you get me? So I feel like that carried me as well. So as much as going down the wrong path, because I had them, I didn't come from a broken home. Do you know what I'm saying? I'll keep it 100. Like my mum and dad was staunch. I had 2 Irish parents that, all right, they've come to England for a better life to make better. Because I had 2 brothers with cystic fibrosis. So basically, I had 2 brothers who had cystic fibrosis. So like, I realized how blessed I was, you know, like, like I was able to do what they wasn't able to do. So
was it just the 3 of you? Was it?
Nah, there's 8 of us.
8.
Wow.
There was no TV in my house.
You don't need a TV. You're 8.
No, I'm joking. Nah, but they were busy. My mum and dad, we had a big family, and I feel like even that now, you don't really get big families as much anymore. And I just feel like for me, like having that family unit, like that made us even more stronger, knowing that like my brothers was ill, and I feel like, I don't know, it's hard to explain because I was so young. I thought my brothers would be around forever, and that was my naivety. As much as they was ill, I didn't understand how ill. So basically, as I came out of the poetry thing and into the music scene, I started writing. I had a mixtape. I think it might have been about 16 tracks for this mixtape, and I was going to release that in 2008. Unfortunately, my brother passed away in 2008, so I didn't end up releasing it. And then I ended up going off the rails a little bit. But like I say, luckily for me, I had people around me that was like, yo, Paddy, fix up, bruv. You've got good things going for you. So
when you say you went off the rails, in what way? Because this is the Uncut Show, so we can say this is why we're here. Because it's good for people to hear.
I don't really like to speak about it because I don't feel it makes me feel like if I feel away, I feel ashamed a bit. But you know, it is because we're on here. There's no point in going around the houses. I've got to keep it 100 because I promised you asked me to be on here, so I'm going to give you the reality of what was going on.
The thing is, Paddy, lots of people make mistakes, lots of people take the wrong path, but if you can be reconnected, that's what people need to hear, because it means that there's hope for other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So basically, yeah. Okay, so all right, so how I'm going to put it is, before my brother passed away, I was doing music, but at the same time, I was on road. That's how I'm going to put it. I was on road. So I was doing what I shouldn't have been doing. One night I was on road. I ended up having to get to my mum's house pretty quickly. Let's put it that way. I was getting chased by police. I ended up getting away, luckily. And I've come back to my mum's and I'm sweating, pale, coming to my brother. My brother sat with an oxygen machine on. And he's like, yo, you need to fix up, like, what you doing? So I'll get to the reason why I was doing it, because there's no reason for me other than the reason why I was doing it, but I'll get to that in a minute. So when I've come in that night, my brother's on his oxygen machine and he's like, yo, bruv, you need to stop this. You need to come off the road. You need to, you know what I mean? You've got to do music, bruv. You've got talent, stick at it. Then he said that he's got a friend in the city centre who had an in-house studio. So my brother basically said, go and see my friend. So him knowing that, as much as I loved music, he knew I was never going to finance paying to go to studio, because at that time I would have rather gone and got a £400 Stone Island jacket, or, you know, because I did it because that's what I just thought that was the norm, if that makes sense at the time for me. That was what I wanted. I'd rather have that than pay for 30 quid for studio time, because I didn't see my potential or what he's seen. Does that make sense? So it was my ignorance again. But this day I decided to take his advice, and I've gone to the studio, and that's why I was going to release the mixtape, because I recorded that 16-track mixtape. And then basically my brother passed away, like I said, in 2008, and I went off the rail more so because basically the guy who owned the studio, he couldn't actually make it to my brother's funeral, but he came to the wake after, where everyone was drinking, which was in we had it in Chapeltown. And he came through and he paid his condolences, and he pulled me aside and he said, look, Paddy, I'm really sorry for your loss, brother. Bearing in mind I'd had a bit to drink now, so I was in my feelings a bit. I was a bit, do you know what I mean? I was overwhelmed with it. Like, normally I don't cry and stuff like that, but I was a bit emotional that day. So he's pulled me aside. He's like, gave me a hug. He's like, look, bro, I'm sorry for you. And he's like, oh, I didn't even want to take the money off him. And I've looked at him. I was like, what are you talking about, bro? He's like, bro, I didn't want to take the money off you, brother. I was like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, well, make it make sense. What are you talking to? He's like, well, basically the studio for that mixtape that you're going to, bro, he was paying me for studio time. I was like, what are you talking? So my brother was using his sick money
to pay for you.
And I was out here on road doing a foolishness, to get me, Faye. So for me, I in that moment, I wanted to die.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I felt so much shame. I felt lost in that moment. It broke me, because I thought, raw, like, I was out here doing a madness. He was taking drugs to keep himself alive, and he was using his money to pay for me to go to studio to record, because he believed in me and I didn't believe in me. So from that day, I went off the rails. Like I say, I was drinking loads. This time I was smoking loads of weed. I don't even smoke anymore. It's been 5 years since I've smoked. So
well
I've
done.
knocked it all
Congratulations.
on. So I was smoking a lot. I was drinking bottles of brandy and stuff daily. Like, it was a normal Ray and nephew. I was just drinking dumb, stupid drinks. But then, like I say, blessings was I had people around me that was like, look, Paddy, you need to fix up. Your brother wouldn't want this. You know what I'm saying? So I did basically I did an extra mixtape, but what I did is I was going to release it again, but with a few, to pay homage to my brother, I did a few touches on the mixtape, get me? So obviously back in the 2009 was kind of bad for me. Like I said, that was part of me going off the rails. So I was ready to re-release it again in 2010. and then my other brother died in 2010.
Oh God.
So I kind of, but obviously I was in a different place then. Do you get what I mean? Like my mindset was a bit different. So I wouldn't say I went off the rails, but I went a bit quiet. I wasn't drinking heavily or smoking, or I just kind of went in myself a bit.
I think this time around, it gave you more strength. I think to realign your journey and your path.
Yeah, I think so. I think that kind of that was it was. I think I was a bit more stronger the second time around, so to speak. Do you know what I mean?
You've gone through a very painful journey, right? It's very clear to us, and there's more to it. So we would love to bring you back in.
Can I do a quick disclaimer though? Just a quick one.
Yes, absolutely.
So, with the reason, because like I say, I came from a staunch household. It's got nothing to do with my parents or anything like that. No. The reason I did the madness is basically because my mum and dad had to pay because my brothers wouldn't eat the hospital food. So my mum and dad would have to pay taxis to and from the hospital every day and bring them food. So when I was out on road with all the man them, so to speak, I couldn't ask my mum for £110 for trainers. I wouldn't do that to my mum because I knew how much pressure she had looking after my brothers. So that's the reason why I did it. Because I didn't want to put that pressure on my mum and dad. So I still feel shame, but so I'm not. That doesn't justify it. But I'm saying for me, that's the reason why I did it. It's not that I didn't. I could have asked them for it, but I didn't want to give them that pressure.
But Paddy, you are who you are now. Remember that.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Honestly.
All the experiences has made you stronger, wiser, and like Faye said, it's made you be in the right place now, and that's the most important.
And you'd be very good going into schools and talking about your journey, Paddy. Seriously, they'd bite your hand off. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because it's a true story, and I think we need that more in schools at the moment. Young men, young women talking about their journey and where they are now. Because remember, your beginning doesn't determine your end.
And 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Paddy. You're amazing. You're an amazing human being.
So also, my single is out right now. I've just knocked Drake off the charts. I've just knocked Drake off the charts at number 3.
You haven't.
Hold on, repeat.
I've just dropped a single. It's called My Way with Keon Hill. We knocked Drake off the charts.
I'm just gonna put it. Is it on your?
You knocked Drake off the charts
at number 3.
I love that.
Is it on your socials?
It's on my Instagram. Yeah, I posted it. It might be a bit down my feed, but it's on my Instagram.
Oh,
what's your Instagram, Paddy, for everybody else to follow you?
Irish Paddy 32C.
Perfect. So we can see all your music on there. We can see you knock off Drake on the charts.
That's it. Thank you.
I'm very proud of you. You're a great human being, and I cannot wait to bring you back on so we can have a longer session. Absolutely. Thank you, Paddy, so much. Have a lovely evening.
Yeah, lovely, Paddy, and we'll catch up.
We'll catch up, definitely. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.